Habari, my safari buddies. Now welcome to Getaway Planet. My name is Brian. Today after work, we went and played basketball, futa, and tennis with a friend of mine. She's a colleague, and we had a really good time. So yesterday on Twitter, people were sharing their childhood memories, and they were talking about the things that they did when they were young. Zile zilifanya wachapwe na wazazi wao. It just brought out memories of me growing up. I was a very special child. You know I have 2 balls, right? What are you thinking? Shame on you. I'm going to share those memories with you right now. Where should I start? So I'll give you 2 stories. One of the stories is of my dad punishing me psychologically, and the second story was my mom punishing me physically. And here we go.
Stalkers captured backing a paid low crew that went down in the area. Over.
So I remember when I was about 6-7 years old, when I was growing up, every time we visited our grandparents, we always carried sugar, unga, and kahawa, ketepa, all those kind of things, and we take them to my grandparents. And I remember the day that we were traveling, that morning we went and bought all those things. And I was the kind of kid, every time I went with my mom to the supermarket for shopping or anything, I used to get biscuits or anything that I would get my hands on, and I'd open it into the supermarket and have a bite. I always did that, and she would never know. And then once you go to the counter, you move it and place it on the counter, and then she would get pissed, but she would pay for it eventually. So this time I went with my dad. It was the first time that we went to buy things with my dad. And I remember I took a bar of chocolate and I opened it. As usual, I ate a piece, put the rest in my pocket. We did shopping and everything, and then I remember placing it on top of the counter and looked at my dad, waiting for him to pay for it. Because I had done it with my mom for so long, I assumed that he's going to, pay for it.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
But I think for a split second, he talked to the cashier, and then I think he told him to play along. That's my theory. So anyway, the cashier starts billing the items one by one, leaving out my eaten bar of chocolate. My guess was that maybe he's doing all that so I can finish up with my eaten bar of chocolate. So once he gets to my bar of chocolate, I remember the cashier telling me, "Mtoto, hebu lipia chocolate yako." And I told my dad, lipa, huyu ndio daddy analipa. And this is what my dad said. Wewe mtoto, wewe ni nani? Unaona watoto wa siku hizi wanakuja wanachukua vitu hapa kwa shelf, wanauma, alafu wanakuja hapa anasema ati nimlipie, na mimi hata simjui. Wewe mtoto, hebu lipa nini yako chenye umekula. Mimi sikujui. Babako nani? So he paid for everything else except my eaten bar of chocolate and left. He left me stranded without any money.
Don't cry, don't say please.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain.
So the cashier went on and kept insisting that I should pay. Wewe mtoto, hebu lipa. Unakuja aje hapa unachukua vitu unakula na hulipi? Hebu tafuta wazazi wako. And I remember that time there were no cell phones, no mobile phones. I think my dad left for about 10 minutes, but it felt like an hour. But since then, even if I'm buying anything in the supermarket, even if I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I have to wait for me to pay. I can't wait to have my own kids. Hey. Now the second story is quite embarrassing, and I have to say that I deserved the beating that I got.
Stalkers captured backing a paid low crew that went down in the area. Over.
Growing up, I was a very curious kid. I wanted to know how things work. Why do they work like this? Who made them work like this? I had a lot of questions, but I never really asked the questions. I always wanted to find out by myself. This made me do very stupid and embarrassing things so that I can cure my curiosity. At this point of this incident that I want to share with you, my mom never really wanted to go with me anywhere so that I cannot embarrass her. So every time my mom stepped out and I knew she wasn't going to work, I always begged her to take me with, because I knew everywhere she went there has to be food. So anyway, in this case, she was getting ready and then she was about to leave, so I asked her to take me with. And so she tells me, "No, siendi na wewe, unapenda kuniibisha sana mbele ya watu." Eventually she gives in and she takes me with. She was going for a wedding, and growing up I loved weddings because of the food. So yeah, we go for this wedding, and also at the reception during lunch I behave. But then it gets to that point where people give out speeches at the reception. I leave my mom where she was seated. She was talking to her friends, and then I go to that cake area. The cake was very big. It was the biggest cake that I'd ever seen at that point, at that age. It was even taller than me. It was very big. So I taste the cake and I couldn't stop tasting it, so I kept eating the cake. in African weddings, we have this lady who usually has a kitamba, and she's the one that comes to cut the cake, and then she forces the groom to feed the bride and the bride to feed the groom. And because I was very short, I was scooping the cake from down. Mind you, the cake was placed right next to the high table at the very front of the event, but I was very short, no one could see me. I was hiding behind the cake and I was eating it. She starts talking about the cake. It has been made by so and so, it's a gift to you, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. And then she comes around to look at the cake, and then she finds me with cake all over, and I'm scooping cake. And mind you, she has a microphone. Anyway, she forgets to put it on the side so she can talk to me directly and yell at me directly without everyone at the wedding hearing what she's telling me. And so she says, "We mtoto, nini unafanya hapo kwa keki? Umekuja kuharibu keki ya wenyewe? Muangalie huyu. Mamako ako wapi?" She caught me and then proceeded to say, "Mwenyewe mtoto wako wapi? Hebu kujia mtoto wako amemaliza keki ya wenyewe." But anyway, it was very embarrassing for mom. My mom had to do the walk of shame from where she was seated at the middle of the event of the wedding just to come and grab me and take me home. My mom took me home. I got a very big ass whooping, and
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel.
A few years back, I remember asking my mom if she remembers the incidents, and she got pissed again. She even told me that she had to apologize via letter to the couple after the whole wedding. Apparently, I made the cake unstable. So that's the end of my two stories today, and I'm glad that my parents treated me the way they did, because I wouldn't have turned out to be the man that I am today. I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear more stories from me like this, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll share some of my life stories with you guys. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Be kind to one another. Kwaheri. I'm so tired. I need to go to